All right, so we are Oxford Elite Advertising, and this is our campaign proposal for the Mississippi Main Street Association.
My name is Holden Croswell. I'm a 23-year-old senior from Houston, Texas. My major is in integrated marketing and communications, and I aspire to be in commercial real estate after college.
My name is Mike Cornell. I'm a 23-year-old from Dallas, Texas, and I'm also an IMC major, of course, with a specialization in sports marketing.
I'm Ben Murray. I'm 22 from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'm also an IMC major with specialization in sports marketing.
I'm Austin Kaiser. I'm also a senior IMC major from Nashville, Tennessee, and also specializing in sports marketing. All right, so as he said, we're Oxford Elite. We're a company dedicated in consumer control and satisfaction. And with our mission is to help organizations like yours build brand awareness and relay your message to relay your message to the public to help your presence and productivity into the marketplace. Our client range is from small business owners to even nonprofit organizations and large corporate companies. And when we started our campaign process, we looked into the background on you as our client, Mississippi Main Street. What we found was y'all network over 50 communities. Over 50 communities throughout the state with your mission to revitalizing great downtown main streets, and especially historic downtowns, into bringing back the heart of these downtowns for generations to come.
So SWOT analysis, Mississippi Main Street does a lot of things good. That's including they're the only ones that offer a service kind of like this. My other 2 points that I have up here mentioned kind of tie into each other. I'll do a great job of showcasing the downtown improvements, as well as like the photos, and you can see that on the website as well as other things. As far as weaknesses go, one weakness would be maybe making more people in Mississippi aware of Mississippi Main Street Association in general. It's also important for people to understand that's Mississippi Main Street that are the ones that are providing all these changes for the communities. That's very important to us, where we think that more people should just know that these downtown communities are being impacted by Mississippi Main Street. They're the ones that are providing these resources, helping them out. Also, lack of volunteers, that's always something that can be improved on, as well as just low level of awareness of like what exactly Mississippi Main Street does. So like, yeah, they're an event planner, but they do more than just plan events, like as well as organize things and help people connect. And we'll talk about that more later. As far as opportunities go, Mississippi Main Street, we have a manager's guide we've been creating, and it could be a very valuable asset. We'll talk about that more later as well. Getting more communities to become a part of Mississippi Main Street, that could always be more beneficial into like helping just spread the word that Mississippi Main Street is doing all these things for the communities, just have more involved. Improve communications between current and future Mississippi Main Street Association. We talked to Ellen Russell, which we'll talk about later. She mentioned that as being something that she'd really would like to see some improvement on. And then finally, create a platform to increase productivity. We'll also talk about that later. That kind of comes in with the beekeeper and that we'll discuss. And then finally, as far as threats go, one of their biggest threats is themselves, and that's just making sure that they uphold the standards that they have in place already, just to remain successful in everything. So Mississippi Main Street, y'all already have great standards set in place to remain successful, but it's just important to keep holding people accountable and everything so that y'all remain successful. And then finally, budget cuts resulting in loss of staff and resources, that kind of speaks for itself. That can always be something that can be a threat. So.
All right, as far as our audience for our campaign is concerned, it is for Main Street themselves, but also we decided to focus more on the managers specifically, because when we did our primary research, we saw there are some communities, or like some of the bigger communities, that do utilize these resources that are given to them really well. But there's also quite a few that don't communicate well, or don't use the resources because they don't know what they're doing.
So what's the concept? Our concept, or Oxford Elite Advertising, is creating an 8-month-long campaign to increase the success of the MMSA managers themselves. We would like to increase the communication between the association and the managers, as well as the managers and the managers themselves, and other managers themselves, while upholding our main idea of that the Mississippi Managers Association is more than just an event planner. So what did we do with it? We created monthly newsletters featuring different Did You Know editions every month, each with a different designated theme intended to highlight key concepts like resource management, budget advice, and how to employ a student ambassador program. But on top of that, we would like to incorporate into our campaign a unified collaborative platform where managers can, so through our research, we found that some managers have a significantly stronger level of communication with the association and surrounding managers themselves, while others do not have that same level of communication between themselves. So we'd like to introduce something called Beekeeper, which is a award-winning third-party online workspace application that is designed to unify a dispersed workforce. But we'll get more into that later. So what did we find with our research? So to get to our insight, we had a few main takeaways from research that we conducted. We found that several communities are communicating very well with the association, while others, of course, are not. And there's a very high need for volunteers pretty much everywhere. That was something that everyone we talked to had said. And between the managers themselves, there is a sort of stigma that they think that the MMSA is more of an event planner than anything else, which is simply untrue.
So initially to start our research, we sent out emails to all managers, and we asked and we did phone interviews with a few managers. We asked two simple questions. We asked, what resources do you currently use or have you benefited from through the Mississippi Main Street, by Mississippi Main Street? And then what resources would be what resources are you looking for? What could possibly benefit you? So after that, we realized a lot of the Mississippi Main Streets are different in terms of size, structure, and some main streets are communicating with each other, formulating ideas and making things happen, and some are just in no man's land in means of communication. And we also realized that a lot of managers see the MMSA as an event planner, which is just simply not true. They do so much more than that. They revitalize communities, they preserve historic landmarks, et cetera, et cetera. They're also having budget cuts, and that's resulting in having a hard time recruiting interns or volunteers, because without an incentive, it's hard to get somebody in the office every day to do work for you. So we decided to meet with a woman named Ellen Russell in Pontotoc. She's the manager for y'all in Pontotoc.
Oh yeah, so we talked with Ellen Russell, we went down to Pontotoc, it was a really good conversation. She had a lot to say. One thing that she mentioned was that the MMSA really is a catalyst for projects. Like she kind of like basically told us that when it comes to connecting the client with the people they need to get in touch with, Mississippi Main Street does a great job of doing that for them, as far as like directing them in the way, or like direction as to who they need to talk to get things done. Another thing she mentioned was that they kind of keep, or do a good job of keeping like the spark burning in the community, just keeping people engaged, keeping people interested, while still focusing on preserving the history of the town. So like with all these downtown improvements, it's not that they're redoing the downtown, it's just like more of that they're focusing on keeping them looking beautiful, improving them, and just keeping the historic values still there. Another thing that she talked about was a simplified way of communicating with other managers. And like we said, it's possible, but not exactly easy. And we talked about Beekeeper, we'll kind of brush on that more later. And then finally, we've mentioned this already too, just the lack of volunteers. She said that she's always looking for more people to help out, and that's just something that they could use.
So what is Beekeeper? Again, Beekeeper is an award-winning online workspace for dispersed yeah. It's essentially everything you would need to communicate with one another in one central location. It will have things such as like It'll have a safe, secure private online portal to hold all kinds of like documents, contact information for future reference, as well as just an easy to use platform for all the managers to communicate, collaborate, and connect on. And something that is great about Beekeeper is that it's permanent, even though our campaign has an end date.
So what about the other things? So we learned from our research we have a lack of helping hands. That we can improve that through sending out these newsletters, and we'll get into that later. They're trying to get past the stigma of being just an event planner. We'll also get into that a little more too. The general ideas about how managers can effectively use all their resources at their disposal. A lot of these managers don't know what's available to them. And the whole premise behind this is communication. We need to get that, and we need to get managers communicating and formulating ideas. The Beekeeper, we can do that. Let's go to the next one.
So these are a few of the manager monthly newsletters we kind of created. As you can see, there's different topics that range each month that managers could find out more information about, get more involved. First one is, do you know about Beekeeper, training sessions, internships, budgeting, and I think we have a few more on the next slide. Technical assistance, promotion, membership benefits, and event planning. So basically, each month they'll receive one of these things, and they can either look it over, and if they want to learn more information about, just reach out either through Beekeeper or through just the association itself.
These are just some examples of what our newsletters will look like. They just kind of very professional looking, space for copy, and just kind of each topic every month we'll start off with a sort of that.
All right, so as they've emphasized it a lot throughout the presentation, but our main idea is that the City Main Street is more than just an event planner. We really want to emphasize that. And our main messaging strategy is with that, but also to help put these managers on the right track, especially in smaller towns that don't have these as much, and may not know about most of these resources as they can, help put them on a successful path to help use these resources effectively and efficiently for greater success in all aspects. And our main approach is through direct emails to each specific manager, while also having, and these emails will contain these PDF files of each monthly newsletter as well as information on joining Beekeeper and how to use that.
So as for the budget, the only price tag on our campaign will be with Beekeeper itself. It is a one-time payment of $3,500, and you will never have to pay another cent again. And that comes with everything you will need to effortlessly connect, collaborate, and communicate with all of the managers all over Mississippi. It includes fully compatible third-party app on any system, on every system, 24/7 live representation, online app support, activity newsfeed, chat, online messaging, and so much more. It truly is a very powerful app that can really bring all of these managers together.
So, in conclusion, our campaign's focus, improve communication between managers, and collaborate and have collaborative action between them, formulate ideas, learn from mistakes. Because with Beekeeper, think about it. If something goes wrong without Beekeeper, these people they might not know. So, that's an example. And Beekeeper provides a sense of transparency throughout MMSA, and we hope that y'all will consider investing in our campaign.
And lastly, we'd like to thank you for your time and considering
Thank you
our
very much.
proposition. Thank you very much.
Sir, do you have any questions or
Do
comments?
y'all have any questions?
I do. How does your organization get paid? Which, just if your proposal, and it's really interesting to propose a technology to solve a problem that we have, but you did some work. And so if our budget, you remember what our budget is?
3,500. Are y'all's budget?
Yeah.
About $20,000,
It's-
was it not?
Yeah, that's right.
So you're recommending that we make a particular purchase. Is there anything you would do to support us in that would earn your agency some money?
As far as Beekeeper goes, it's more of a kind of like, I guess, leading you guys into it, and then we could set up Beekeeper, but the newsletters is really what we assumed that we would be doing as
And that would be a free service.
well.
Yes.
Hold on, you're in business. You don't
Nothing
need
is free.
services.
Yes.
So if you're generating content for us to help us communicate, just thinking about what that would cost, one for you, and then how much it would cost us to get it.
That would probably run, I guess we would do, when you sign up for the service, with that, it would be probably about $200 payment for each manager, flat rate, to receive these newsletters and then get it circulated.
I like that you're the first group that did focus on the audience of our Main Street connectors.
Yeah, we knew that was
I thought that was
kind
interesting. Yeah, that was an
of unorthodox, but
yeah.
we kind of ran with it and we think it worked out.
And how many directors did you talk to besides Ellen?
We talked to about, I think we talked to 10. Ellen was the only one that we
She was the
actually
only one
get
that we
any
talked face to
FaceTime
face
with.
with.
Right.
But I think we talked to about 10 or 15.
I think our goal is for each of us to try to at least contact 10 or 15. I think I contacted like 13 or 14. Got emails back from most of them. So.
Did any
They're
of
very
them talk
helpful.
about what is effective as far as our communication with them?
So I did learn from, I think it was, is it Gulf? I think it was Gulfport was telling me about how there's a difference between the rural and I forgot how she described it. Urban. And she described how some of the rural and urban ones either have different communications or different benefits. Touched on that a little bit, and we kind of thought about that when we were formulating our main idea, but then kind of thought more of going towards the approach of just everybody being able to collaborate more with each other rather than just reaching out to, say, the urban or the rural communities.
And would you say, I don't know a lot about Beekeeper, would you say it's kind of equivalent to like Dropbox or Box.com?
It has that in
It has like, it's like something with like it's like essentially like super Facebook is the way I would describe it to somebody. It's like a very professional version and has like all of these different features to like as far as document sharing, you can like make a complete presentation through it. You can like create a
Video
forum,
call,
you can create,
conferencing,
cloud
you can do-
storage.
there's a lot of different collaborative things you can do between each other on that.
Had you had
itself.
some history with Beekeeper, you knew about it, or did you?
Well, actually, the way I found out about it is my father actually uses it within his own company, so he kind of put me onto it and said it might be a good idea to help with the collaboration aspect as far as that goes.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Here is the campaign